Hello and welcome to another video on the channel known as $2 Garage. I just thought this would be an interesting piece of weekly content. We'll see where it goes. And it's just going to be showing some good deals I found on Facebook Marketplace. This showing you that yes, you can find good deals out there. You just have to look a little bit. Our first car is this one. Now this is a 1987 Ford Taurus, which is really nothing special. It is a wagon. That is cool by modern US standards. But if you see that, that's a manual, and this is an SHO steering wheel. Probably doesn't have a SHO motor in it, but it's rough, but it is very interesting. This would be a very cool pickup, and it's Power Tour 07, so it's a really early Power Tour car. But this would be a cool pickup. If this engine picture would ever load, that would be nice. All right. He doesn't say what engine's in there, but that looks like a 4-cylinder to me. This is starting off, kicking it off with, well, a very interesting project that would stand out. The next one up here is a true sports car. This is a 2010 Lotus Evora. So this only has 21,000 miles on it. And of course, it has a second gear grind about half the time, and it just won't go in the second. So obviously, transmission work is probably needed. And it did sit outside in Arizona for a while, so you got some fading clear coat there. And the interior is a bit falling apart because it sat in the sun. But I still think this is a great deal. I'm sure a transmission rebuild is cheaper than this because if we go over here to Auto Tempest, these cars hold their value very well. It is a true enthusiast car. And so you got the new stuff, that's 85 grand. But let's get down here. 51,000. I mean, there's not a whole lot of them in the market, and this is half the price of the cheapest car. And if you could, let's say, rebuild the transmission yourself or just get that done, I think this is a truly awesome driver's car for the money that you could just drive the crap out of and enjoy, despite its slight flaws like plastic interior that looks like it's from the 80s, but that's fine. It's a Lotus. Next up here, we have a Pocket Rocket. Now, this thing is an absolute rocket ship. It is a 335 Xi, so that is that inline 6 twin turbo. It makes 300 something horsepower stock. It's $3,000, 175,000 full bolt on, check engine lights on because it's catless. Here's a laundry list of crap thrown at it. Now, I think something happened here, so that hood gap does not look factory. That looks like all this carbon fiber wrap came off eBay, and I love the fake M steering wheel. But what I see in this car is it needs some TLC. But for the money, you could have a really fast rocket ship with all-wheel drive and generally an overall decent car. So I can't give it crap. I mean, for the money, it's really not bad, especially if you know this platform and actually know what's wrong with it. Now, this one is a little interesting because this is a perfect beater that you can run into the ground. So this is obviously an 01 Celica GT, 250,000 miles. It is a manual. Unfortunately, he only has one picture, which is a great way to devalue your listing, by the way. But it has a blown motor. And he will trade. I want to get a bike. Rear trailer does not come with TRD wing, so that means it's an eBay TRD wing, and this car is. Bring a trailer wouldn't even touch this with a 30-foot pole. But here's what I see. It is a manual, and obviously it works. So you can get this thing for $800. Throw a junkyard engine in it and beat the crap out of it for a while. Maybe give it a little bit of low-budget paint work, and you'll actually have a car that looks somewhat presentable at the end of it for probably less than $2,000. And I really don't see that as a bad deal in today's world. Switching it up here, we have a interesting vehicle because, we need another wagon. This is a 72 Grand Marquis, 42,000 miles, and it is a Woody 400 V8, so I think that's the base model V8 at the time. It's a New York car, it has some rust, and these pictures were terribly taken at night for the most part, but it seems like a genuinely interesting survivor to drive around in. And for $5,200, this is definitely an experience. Plus, it's a wagon, so it's still a practical thing. Obviously, it is a New York car, so if I were to look at it, I would check for the rust. It is a old Detroit car in the state of New York. Next up is another screaming deal. At least at the moment, this platform's really good. This is obviously a G35. This is the first gen, and this is the coupe, which is my favorite variation. I think they actually look pretty good. This car is $3,000, and this really isn't bad. Interior is in okay shape. It is, keep in mind, it is a nearly 20-year-old vehicle at this point. Automatic, like most of these, or a few manuals. But 170,000, it runs and drives. It leaks a little bit of oil. A little ding here from something, shopping cart, something like that. Here's the remnants of what looks like early mid-2010s Plasti Dip. And there's some paint fade. It's a Pennsylvania car, so there's going to be a little bit of rust. But overall, I genuinely think for $3,000, this really isn't a bad car. Something to just drive around and have fun. That VQ sounds pretty good, and you can have a good time with this. Of course, the G35 also has a four-door variant if you actually want a practical vehicle. This one is an R title and he doesn't have a price on it, but I'm sure you can get it kind of cheap because it is a rebuilt salvage title. It seems pretty decent though, not gonna lie, so if we come here to the end, it looks like he did a solid job, and there's definitely could be a potential deal here. You have all-wheel drive, you have a decent V6, they put in everything for 20 years, decent aftermarket support in basically any price range, and honestly, not a bad platform at all. Just a little bit of stigma because of taking over kids, unfortunately. And that will be it for my half-decent finds on Marketplace this week. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe. If you think this is terrible, tell me in the comments. If it's good, leave it there. Anyway, so I'll talk to you later. Have a nice day.